Greetings and welcome to Smartwatch Ticks. We're a YouTube channel dedicated to smartwatches, and boy do we have a couple today. Comparison between the Samsung Galaxy Gear S3, in this case the Classic or the Frontier, and the new Samsung Watch Active. They're both about the same price. What do I mean? Well, let me show you. If you don't have either one, you can pick them up directly from Amazon using the link we have in the show notes, which helps us out in being able to get these watches for you for review. The Galaxy Watch Active in a variety of colors, black, blue, and gold, are running right at $200, $199.99. Now, the original Galaxy Gear S3 has dropped in price significantly. It's down to about $188 for the Classic, and the Frontier is going to set you back about the same, $190. So within $10, all three watches, two versions of this and the Active, are priced the same. So if you're going to spend $200, which one do you want to buy and why? If I can keep them on, we're going to show you. If at any time you want to bail out of this video, you just go right ahead. As soon as you've made your decision, you're done. First point, decision factor. Do you want a larger watch? How big is your arm? How big is your wrist? This is a thicker watch, much larger watch, handsome watch, mostly for a guy, but it could work for a lady's watch as well. This one, much smaller, much tinier, thinner, compact. So, size. Which one is right for you? If you want to just base your decision on size, that's all you need to see. You can bail out now. Want to go a little further? All right. This one has the notorious wheel that you can turn. This is the gear, right? That makes this the Gear watch. This one does not. But it doesn't mean you can't do everything. You have to use your finger to slide. That's fine if you want to do that. This one, you can actually do the same thing, but you also have the advantage of the gear. You want the rotating gear? You got it. The Gear S3. You could bail out now if you want. You want more? All right. This puppy is waterproof. You can swim with it. You can get it totally wet. This one, you have to kind of keep it from getting wet at all. You can get some splashed water on it, but it is not waterproof. Aha! Well, wait a minute. This one doesn't have a speaker in it. You can't use it for the phone call thing, making your remote phone calls and speaking to your watch and hearing it coming back from the watch. But this one does. Has a built-in speaker, microphone. That has a microphone. This one uses the S voice. Oh my gosh. We're way back there to the S voice. It hasn't even been updated to Bixby, let alone to Cortana or Alexa or Google. Although there is a third-party app that lets you do Alexa, sorta, for controlling your home on either of these. This one, though, does have the Bixby voice, not the S voice. Is there a difference? I imagine Bixby's supposed to be a little more sophisticated. After all, Samsung's putting it on their fancy phones with buttons you squeeze on the side. They're really promoting it, so there might be a future for that with the Active. If you want voice control of your watch, better chance with the Active than with the S3. However, they're doing firmware updates all the time, so it's possible it may come to this watch as well. Speaking of that, this runs the Tizen operating system, and so does this. However, this also has a thing called One UI, that hovers on top of it and gives you a little more capability. Like when you slide down and have all of these different things, you got a page 2, and you can even have a page 3. Your theater mode is right here, and the icons, along with all these other things like NFC that you can turn on and off right from the screen. This one, not so. You're still stuck with just one page and you can't go any further. But that may change if there's a firmware update. All of these pieces are definitely changeable and upgradable. In fact, if you get the S3, original or Frontier, the first thing you're going to want to do is update the software, because when you do, you'll find that you can actually update this thing all the way to 4.0.0.2 Tizen version. It ships with version 2 or 3 or something, and that gives you tremendous capability, almost exactly equal to this one that is currently running Tizen version 4. Oh, the one UI is running, and the Tizen version 4.0.0.3. So just a tiny little step ahead of this one already. Wow. Hard to decide on software because it's constantly changing. Here's a huge difference, which led me to really want the S3 over the Active or even the Galaxy Watch, and that's how both watches, categories of watches, handle payments. If I press and hold long on both watches, I have to enter a PIN. Once the PIN is entered, I get these screens. Now notice the difference. There's the NFC symbol up here on the Active, and there's card info here, which if you tap, gives you a 4-digit number, which is the last 4 digits of a virtual card that you would give to the cashier. In other words, this one's not using NFC. It's using different technologies similar to the magnetic strip that's on your card. That means you can use the S3 Classic or Frontier just about anywhere that you can use a swipeable card. This one, however, you have to use the NFC chip. When you hit the pay, notice it's saying hold near the NFC card reader. This one is just there. Hold near card NFC reader to pay. And this is either, I guess, the magnetic strip or the NFC can pick this signal up. This one is restricted to the NFC. You have this countdown timer. If it doesn't see it in time, then it's going to time out and you have to start over again. But that's a big difference between the two watches, is the way it handles the automated Samsung payment. Showing it another way from their description, press long hold on the upper right-hand button. Turn your bezel to select the card. Swipe to select your card. Tap pay on the screen, and now hold the watch near the card reader on the machine. Hold the watch near the NFC reader on the machine. Well, what about watch faces then? No difference. You can use the watch faces that are available through the store on either of these. And of course, every one I'm showing you are custom watch faces. Each of these watches ships with their own specialized watch faces that are slightly different, but it's really easy to download and install either free or for a small fee extra, even including animated watch faces. Well, what about the software? How about the things that you put in here? The apps? Well, they're basically the same too, with the exception, and man, I really had to hunt hard for this. That one, there you go. I can't spin it. It doesn't turn, and if I put it on this one, it's just an image. I can change the color of it by touching it, but I can't spin it. You spin it by turning the gear. Yeah, if you want that spinner that you control with the gear, you have to get any of the ones except for the Active, the Gear S3 or the new Galaxy Watch Basic in the 42 or the 46 millimeter size. Also, occasionally you'll run into a game like this one, Circle Pong, that you need to be able to turn the paddle and hit the ball back and forth, and there's no way you can do it on here because you can't do it with your finger on the slider. So there's just a few apps that will not run on the Active that will run here. However, I bet you'll find there's some swimming apps and water apps and things that you can do on the active that you can't do on any of the other watches, because this is safe underwater. Speaking of which, if I slide down here and I go over here, you see the water drop app? If I tap that one, I lock the screen. It won't move. So it can go underwater and show your display that you lock it in on, and it's not going to flip out. If this one got wet, it would start flipping out and maybe even damage the watch. So you have these extra capabilities. I have to hold that for 3 seconds, and then it comes back and it's unlocked again, and now I can use it. Little subtle things like that. Want more? How about the Tethering app? Well, now they both are using this Galaxy wearable Samsung Gear app. When you open them on both of them, you initially set up which watch you're tethered to, and I have each of them tethered to their separate watches right now, so you can see that we get the same basic information. This one, the payment's working. This one, it's still trying to get set up. But if I make a charge, it's going to show the history of my charges from the watch within the app. Would do that same thing here. You have the Galaxy Store, the Health, which we're going to look at in a minute, and the Samsung Pay. We've got notifications and apps and widgets, and all of the other aspects are exactly the same, including setting up SOS requests, finding your watch, locating it on planet Earth using the GPS. Notice here, though, accounts and backup, sync, phone settings, and we have accessibility. Exactly the same app, tethered to different phones, watches, gives you a few different things that you don't normally have on the other one. And they're both the same version of the app. In this case, you've got visibility enhancement and advanced settings under accessibility available through the app for the active that you don't have for the Gear S3. All right. Other than that, they're basically the same about the watch, about the wearable, and you can do updates and backups and restores and all of that. In fact, I actually used the backup of the active to restore to the Gear S3 through the cloud from Samsung. So there's a lot of shared information between the watches. So if you decide on this one for now, and then you want that one for dress when you go out, and you end up getting both of them, well, please use the links down below to buy them both, okay? That would be really cool. Lots of different apps, lots of different things going on here. Now here's where something gets really interesting. I don't quite understand. Watch this. This is the Gear S3. I'm going into Samsung Health on this one. Here is the Galaxy Watch Active, Samsung Health. They're linking up. They're synchronizing. I haven't worn this at all, so I don't have any steps. A little bit today. Let me adjust the brightness a bit. There, that's a little better. I'm not going to go into a lot of the stuff because it's identical in terms of your step count, your exercises, and the routines that you do, and the GPS charts and everything we've covered. What is different, and this is really wild, is sleep time. I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to bring up this chart, and I'm going to come in here, and even though I didn't sleep with this last night, I have in the past, so I'm going to go back on trends to different days. Here's one, and I'm going to bring down the chart. Now check these out. They look similar, but they're totally different. Let's start with the S3. Older technology. Can you read what it says here? We have rested, light, and motionless as the categories for the sleep. You've got efficiency, active, actual sleep time, your motionless, light, and restless, and calories burned for the Galaxy S3. You with me so far? Go ahead. Let's look at the new active. Look at this display. Awake, REM sleep time, light, and deep. I've got 4 categories, including rapid eye movement, your dream state. Look at this. Efficiency, actual sleep time, awake, REM, light, and deep. moderate, light, restless. And calories has moved down to a lower place there. I don't know. But I do know that the firmwares have been updated in both watches, and this is exactly the same app. I could switch watches and link them in on the opposite one, and that chart would appear over here and that one over there. It's handling the data coming from the Gear S3 differently than it is from the Galaxy Watch Active. And this includes rim time. What are you going to do with it? I have no idea. Is it that important to you that you make a choice based on it? Up to you. This is a little older, and so if you want to consider that your restless sleep is the same as your rim, and I don't know if it is or not, but it's kind of purple. That's about all I can tell you. Anyway, that's the only difference I see in the fitness, but it is something worth noting, and it is different between the watches. And yes, this chart is in the new Galaxy Watch 42 and 46 millimeter watches as well. It's only the Gear S3 line that appears to use this kind of a chart. So whether you get the active or I don't know about the sport, but yeah, you see the distinction. The older, couple of years old, and the brand new watches. What do you think? The bands? Well, this is like a leather band, but it's definitely replaceable. 22 millimeter, it says, easily pops out. The heart rate monitor is in here. Again, you got a speaker and microphone in this one. This has got a nice leather band. Well, I have a leather band on it. This did not come with it. Darn. I was going to change it back to the original. It comes with its own, in this case, kind of a pink beige band comes with it, but it's easily replaceable too. So don't let the bands hold you back. You can constantly change those to meet your heart's desire. 2 buttons on the side. Very attractive watches. A little bit more advanced heart rate detection stuff here. I don't know about any differences in the accuracy or not. Supposedly, blood pressure reading is coming to at least the active, and hopefully through firmware update to the entire Galaxy Watch line. That would be great. But for now, this is what we have. This is a little bit heavier than this. This is thinner, easier to fit in long sleeve shirts and pull them over. Yeah, they're different watches. By now, you should have an idea which one you want. You've been watching Smartwatch Ticks. We are a YouTube channel dedicated to smartwatches. Beyond Galaxy, we cover everything. Android watches, not the Apple Watch, but everything but Apple. Fitness bands, all kinds of goodies. So if you like this kind of stuff, think about subscribing. We'll get you pushed the latest videos, and definitely look around and see if there's anything else you'd like to check out here on our channel. All right, we will see you again soon, and thanks for watching.